FPL Game Week 30 wildcard disaster. We're going to be talking about the Gabriel injury, what to do with him, how long he's out for, and potentially the replacements for Gabriel and the plan for him in my personal team. We're going to be looking at Bukayo Saka. I personally own Cole Palmer. I went for Palmer over Saka. We're going to be talking about what I think of Bukayo Saka, and if you don't own him, is it worth moving towards him this week, or is it worth waiting with that? We're going to be looking at my team going into Game Week 31, the wildcard team that we've got. And as well as that, we're going to be looking at potential transfer plans going forward into the double Game Week 33 and blank Game Week 34 as well. And we're also going to be talking about the future doubles that could potentially be coming later down the line as well. Also, if you're not subscribed and you want to be updated with all the latest FPL content and news, then hit subscribe on this channel and do drop a like as well. It'd be very greatly appreciated. So reports coming out about Gabriel's hamstring injury that he picked up against Fulham went off in the first half. People are saying now that he might be out for at least a month with this injury. So it doesn't look like Gabriel will be coming back anytime soon. Now, this is a big problem for FPL teams. A lot of people have just wildcarded Gabriel in, and then the second we'll wildcard him in is the second he then goes ahead and gets injured. Now, we do have other FPL options. If you're on your wildcard, you will have a fourth and fifth defender most likely that can probably play in these games, but obviously it's not ideal. We've got a lot of money in Gabriel, and, you know, you don't want to be having an injured player that valuable sat on your bench. So what is the best thing to do with Gabriel or aina? So we'll start off by talking about Gabriel. I think if you have other defenders, as I say, that can play in Game Week 31 that have a decent enough fixture, like for me personally, I'll discuss it a bit more in detail later. I do have Dan Burn against Leicester. So I'm in no personal rush to sell Gabriel in terms of, I'll just be bringing him in and probably bringing in maybe a Saliba. We'll discuss the replacements a bit later on, but I think Saliba's a very easy, just direct replacement. And Arsenal's fixture this week as well, it's against Everton, which it's not a bad fixture. It's not exactly an ideal fixture. Everton have been decent under David Moyes. It is away from home as well, and especially without Gabriel, of course, that does now weaken Arsenal's defence in general. So I do still think Saliba or Timber, someone like that, is a great replacement for Gabriel. But are you in an absolute rush to sell him? It depends on the situation of your fourth and fifth defenders. Now, if you have aina, chances are you're probably not wildcarded, because most people probably wouldn't put aina in their wildcard just because Forest don't double in Game Week 32 or Game Week 33. So if you're planning on wildcarding in Game Week 31, it's quite easy just to wildcard aina out. Obviously, it's not ideal that both these players have picked up injuries. I'm not really too sure on the update with aina how serious it is, but Gabriel does look a little bit more serious. And the fact there, with Gabriel having that injury, it's just not good going forward for FPL and what we're going to be doing. As I say, if I was to get rid of Gabriel, if you're in a desperate need to get rid of Gabriel, to be honest, I'd just go straight across to Saliba. We know that Arsenal have a very favourable double in Game Week 33 against Ipswich and Crystal Palace, I believe. So a very nice double game week right there. And Saliba, of course, he's pretty much the same value as Gabriel. It's just a straight move across. I'd be doing a move like that. I'll be bringing in Timber, someone like that. But Saliba's absolutely nailed. So I'll probably be just going straight from Gabriel to Saliba. But as I say, if you're not in a rush to make the move, I wouldn't be absolutely desperate to do it. Now, as for Bukayo Saka, of course, he did come on and literally within 6 minutes, he bagged a goal straight away on his return against Fulham. Now, I'm someone that doesn't own Bukayo Saka. I didn't go for him because I didn't think he'd start the game, which he didn't. And I was just thinking in limited minutes, will he actually be able to do anything? And then I also thought against Everton as well. If you look at the fixtures there, I put them next to each other there. We've got Bukayo Saka is playing against Everton on the Saturday at 12:30, and then on the Tuesday, this is Arsenal's biggest game of the season against Real Madrid. If they have a chance of silverware, it's only in the Champions League now. It's the only competition they've got a chance in. I mean, it is going to be tough for them against Real Madrid, but realistically, their season in terms of silverware depends on this now Champions League. So that is the most important game for Mikel Arteta. Then I question, will Bukayo Saka get the full 90 minutes against Everton? Does it really matter at this point? I mean, Bukayo Saka's returns are always unbelievable. He's so good in terms of FPL picking up assists and also chipping in with goals as well. As I say, it's still a decent option. Even 60 minutes of Bukayo Saka could be clear of 90 minutes of Cole Palmer. I mean, we could see 6 minutes of Bukayo Saka and that pretty much cleared what Cole Palmer's done in the last month of FPL. So realistically there, your answers there, Bukayo Saka could just be a much better option than Cole Palmer. We need to see how Cole Palmer's playing. If you're watching this after, you'll know how he's got on. But at the time of recording, he's not actually played yet, Cole Palmer. So we'll see how he does get on in this next game for Chelsea. Of course, Palmer now does have Madueke and Jackson back, which looks ideal because Palmer performs a lot better with those two in the side. And my thought process going into it in Game Week 30 was the fact that Cole Palmer's going to get 90 minutes. Bukayo Saka's probably going to get 30 minutes, which he did. And I thought 90 minutes of Palmer would be better than 30 minutes of Saka. Probably going to get proved wrong by that. If I was on a wild card right now, I'd be 100% going for Bukayo Saka over Cole Palmer. As a transfer across, I probably won't be making the move from Palmer to Saka this week. I'm probably just going to hold off and stick to the original plan of bringing in Bukayo Saka in Game Week 33. Now, if Saka continues going the way he's going in that double Game Week 33, he could be a very, very popular captain choice. with an ideal double game week. I feel like it's going to be between Bukayo Saka and marmoush, who both have decent double game weeks. But as I say, it's just a bit risky with Bukayo Saka's minutes against Everton. Will he get the full 90? I personally don't think he will. I think he'll probably get maybe 70, 75 tops. But 70, 75 minutes of Bukayo Saka isn't too bad at all. And the way Cole Palmer's been recently, honestly, I'd rather, if I was going into game week 31, I'd rather have Bukayo Saka over Cole Palmer, but for me, it's just not worth that transfer. Now, looking at my team going into next week, this is the team I've currently got set up for game week 31. I would have played Gabriel against Everton, but I can quite easily bring in Dan Burn, who is playing against Leicester, so it's not a bad fixture there. I mean, it's pretty much as good as you can get, really. Newcastle defence, clean sheet-wise, hasn't been the best over the course of the season, but it's a nice enough fixture. I mean, Leicester's one of the better fixtures you can get, so I'm quite happy to play Dan Burn against Leicester. I also have Conte against Nottingham Forest, which I just wouldn't even consider at all. So we're going to play Gabriel against United, we're going to play Munoz against Brighton, and then Burn against Leicester with Raya and goal against Everton. It's not great fixtures for my defence overall, but realistically, there's nothing much I can do. I was obviously planning on playing Gabriel, but he's gone and got injured, so I've just got to play them 4 defenders. I'm not going to be making any transfer defensively. I'll quite happily play those 4. And as I say, Munoz is great going forward. Dan Burn's got a good fixture. David Raya can still very well keep a clean sheet against Everton. And then Gabriel, you never know what's going to happen in that Manchester derby. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if United scored a goal against Man City. They always find a way to concede, don't they? Moving on to midfield, this is where we have Cole Palmer against Brentford. Now, it's Cole Palmer against Brentford up against Bukayo Saka against Everton. I'm just going to have to hope from now on that Cole Palmer can just match Bukayo Saka's score before I then go and make that transfer. If I could go back in time right now, I would have just brought in Bukayo Saka because, I mean, as I said, I didn't expect him to start. That's the reason why I didn't bother bringing him in. Now I've got to use a transfer from going from Palmer to Saka, which obviously I planned on doing anyway. But the plan was, the hopeful plan was that Cole Palmer would outscore Bukayo Saka in the weeks running up to game week 33, which right now I'm really not confident in saying that at all. So then we have Mo Salah, who's going to be the captain against Fulham. For me, it's just no debate. Mo Salah is the guy for me. I mean, Alexander Isak is someone that's definitely worth considering against Leicester. We'll see how he gets on in the game against Brentford before we make any decision on Alexander Isak. Then we have Ismail Assar, which I'm happy with against Brighton. And then Bruno Fernandes, which honestly I'm quite happy with him against Man City. Obviously, he's attacking Guardiola. We've got them against each other. But hopefully we either get a Guardiola clean sheet or Bruno bags a goal. One of those two outcomes. Preferably, to be honest, I'd rather Bruno go and do something because he always seems to get bonus whenever he gets a return. Frustrating, by the way, with Bruno yesterday to not get a return. He had a couple of chances in terms of assist-wise. He had one from Garnacho. He had a couple from set pieces as well. But unfortunately, he didn't end up coming up with any points, which is a shame because it was a big differential to like keeping hold of Bruno because a lot of people wildcarded him out. Didn't work out in the end. We'll see how he gets on against Man City and see if he can repay my faith in that game. Then going to the front three, of course, Isak is definitely up for debate for captaincy. Him or Mo Salah. We'll see how he gets on against Brentford. But for me, I always trust Mo Salah. We'll see how Salah gets on as well against Everton. Then we have marmoush against United. And then Mateta against Brighton to complete that Crystal Palace triple up. Then on the bench, we do have Jacob Murphy, who could very easily come in for one of these players. I need to, as I say, I'm going to watch the fixture and see how everybody gets on. But Jacob Murphy has got a very nice fixture there against Leicester, so he could potentially come in. We've also got Areola in goal against Bournemouth, which I think I'd rather play Raya, to be honest. Gabriel, of course, is injured. Then we've got Ezri Konsa as our third substitute. Current rank as well, I'm down to 41k. I was about 37k. I'm hoping for a green arrow in the fixtures tonight, but let's not focus on rank too much until the end of the week. Now, we also wanted to discuss the fixtures coming up as well. This is double game week 32. The 32 is on FPL team where you can see your team's fixtures later on in the later game weeks. Again, this just kind of proves that I'm not in a rush to sell Gabriel. As you can see, Gabriel's on my bench that week. I am not planning on bench boosting in game week 32. I'll be planning on bench boosting in game week 33. I could maybe make a move from Gabriel, maybe bench boost in 33, but my initial plan was always to bench boost in 33. So I'm not gonna make any transfers. I'm gonna leave Gabriel on the bench again in game week 32. My team was decent enough for 32. We've got 2 double game weeks at the back for Dan Burn and Munoz. I've also got Conte on the bench against Southampton as well, which is not great, but at the end of the day, Aston Villa defence over the course of the season hasn't been great defensively in terms of clean sheets. Then we have quite a few more double game weeks in terms of Jacob Murphy, who was literally just brought in for that reason for this double game week. Ismail Assar, Mateta and Isak. So we're pretty much maximising our double game week players in terms of 3 Newcastle and 3 Crystal Palace for that. And we'll just have to bench Bruno Fernandes against Newcastle. I'm not too angry at benching him in that game. That was always the plan. And then Gabriel now is injured, and then Conte will have to be on the bench against Southampton, with Areola playing against Liverpool, of course, will be on the bench as well. And then for game week 33, this is what the initial team would look like in terms of what my transfers are for planning. I would be taking out Alexander Isak after game week 32. I'll be bringing in Ollie Watkins in game week 33. I'll be bringing in Morgan Rogers for Jacob Murphy. And then the other transfer would be Cole Palmer out for Bukayo Saka. Those would be the 3 transfers that have moved now. Of course, Gabriel still sat there, so I would have to make another transfer, which would mean I have to take a hit, which isn't ideal. So with the bench boost there, it's just not ideal. I'm just not sat in an ideal situation with that one. And then, of course, I've got quite a lot of double game week players still. You never know, Gabriel might be back for them. It's just kind of a wait and see and a hope for that. If not, I'd probably have to take a hit, which is not really what I want to be doing going into that bench boost. But in terms of doubles there, I'd have 5 defenders that all double. If you're including Gabriel, that'd be 5 defenders that will double. Then you have in the midfield, you have Ismail Assar, who doubles, Morgan Rogers, who doubles, Bukayo Saka, who doubles. And then the 2 players that don't double is Mo Salah against Leicester and Bruno against Wolves. And then the front 3 then, we have double game week Ollie Watkins, double game week marmoush, and then double game week Mateta. So you're looking at a lot of double game weeks there, and the players then on the bench, all on the bench boost, have very ideal fixtures looking at. I mean, the only player that doesn't have a good fixture is actually Dan Burn. Sorry, Dan Burn doesn't double in game week 33. So Dan Burn plays against Aston Villa, not ideal with that one. But then we do have Areola against Southampton, it's a decent fixture. Bruno against Wolves, good fixture. And then it will be Mo Salah on the bench then against Leicester as a single game week player. So that's the kind of plan going forward with that. So let me know what you think of them plans in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. You may as well subscribe. If you've watched up to this point, you may as well hit subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.